Welcome to this restorative yoga to attune your energy to autumn. Autumn is one of my most favorite seasons, and so this is going to be a beautiful class just to align our energy to the energy of autumn season. For this class, you're going to need a wall, 2 blocks. I've got a meditation cushion here. A cushion is going to be useful, a blanket, and a bolster, basically all your props. So we are going to start with legs up the wall, and this class is going to have 10-minute holds because autumn season is a more yin season. It's a season of slowing down. So lots of time to cozy in. So as you do this class, take the time to settle into your poses, get all your props. If you got an eye pillow, have an eye pillow if you like it to cover your eyes, and maybe you get an extra blanket to cozy in. So let's start with legs up the wall. So hip right up against the wall. Swing your legs around. You can bring your blanket with you. If you have low back issues, 10 minutes can be a long time to have your legs straight. So you can always have your knees bent or do legs up the couch. So every body is different, and you're going to love your body and choose the position that is the best way to care for yourself today. So once you arrive, make those adjustments to settle in and feel the support of the earth, feel the support of the wall, let yourself sink into that. Let yourself settle into your breathing. No need to fix or change it in any way. Autumn is the season of your lungs. Your lungs is a tender organ. So just feel your breath as it comes in. And feel your breath as it goes out. Before I start to share what I want to attune to this autumn, maybe just ask yourself what your soul, what your true self wants to attune to this autumn season. In autumn, the days are getting shorter and darker. The growing and gathering season is over. And instead of things expanding externally, we're entering into this beautiful season of internal alchemy. Now, while the outer world continues to push us to accumulate, achieve, and compete, our natural rhythms are guiding us in a different direction. And this dissonance between our natural rhythm and the rhythm of our culture at large, it drains our energy. The outward energy of the culture machine is often overactive, and it takes things to extremes. And it's through our beautiful yoga practice that we can come to a place of presence. We can bring our awareness to the aliveness in this present moment. We can attune. We can notice how the energy right now is quite different from the speed of the culturally imposed energy of grasping and striving. So slowing down in this restorative yoga class, we steady our awareness. We can breathe, our lungs can massage our heart. And we can abide in our true nature. And this allows us to attune our energy back to where it is boundless, limitless, infinite, and unrestricted. going to take a deep breath into your lungs. Feel it massage your heart. Bend your knees. And you're going to roll to your side. You're going to take your mat. You can leave it where it is if you want, if that works for you. We're going to set up for restorative locust pose. And for this pose, you're going to need your blocks, which are going to go underneath your shoulders. You can have them on the medium setting or the low setting. You're going to want a blanket or your eye pillow, and you're going to build this up in enough space to make room for your nose. So we're going to set this up over here. So part of restorative yoga is taking the time to set up our poses. And then we're going to set up a bolster for our feet at the base of our mat. So you're also going to be in this pose for 10 minutes. And it'll take a little bit of adjusting to make sure we get this right. So let's just check the position for our feet. Hook your feet on the bolster and then place the blocks under your shoulders and check the blanket. Make those adjustments. Give yourself some time to settle in, make any adjustments. You're going to start breathing into your low back. So in autumn, the leaves fall from the trees and they become fertilizer for next year's growth. So it's like compost. And as we live our lives, some of our experiences are fully expressed, and some of them are filed and stored within our bodies. And as we practice restorative yoga in a container of support and peace and safety, we create the conditions for memories that have been stored in our bodies to come up through the layers of our subconscious mind to conscious awareness. And the shapes of restorative yoga and our breath can support us in releasing. And sometimes this release will come in a form of an emotional release. So part of autumn is releasing grief from that maybe has been stored in our bodies. And we can support that with our breath, breathing through our exhalations here. You're going to take a breath here. And you're going to find your way out of this pose. And we're going to set ourselves up for the next pose, which is going to be child's pose. And for child's pose, I'm going to show you a version which is going to be great for if you have knee issues. I've been finding this pose has really been bothering my knees lately. So first of all, I'm going to do it with a bolster. You can use a bolster or not use a bolster. This version does kind of lift you up a little bit, so you might want to stack your props like this with your bolster and your blocks. So you kind of lift your bolster. And then you are going to use your blanket. And you're going to create like a small, or rather a long bolster. And you're going to take it and you're going to tuck it underneath your knees so that it comes up underneath your knees, and then you sit back into that. It creates more space underneath your knees, and then there's not so much pressure on your knees. You can also do this underneath your ankles if that's an area of tension for you as well. And then you come into your child's pose, which you are going to be in for 10 minutes as well. So take some time to make some adjustments. Yeah, that feels good. So we want to feel good in these poses. We want to feel supported by our props. We want to love our bodies as they are. So let yourself settle in here. Make any adjustments you need to. Feel as comfy and cozy as you can. Breathe into your low back here. So when the leaves fall from the trees, we see, I call them the skeleton trees. And as without, so within. And we too are called to pare down our schedules. So we have more white space on our calendars at this time of year. In this white space on our calendar, it gives us time to connect to the rhythm of our spiritual self, our spiritual practice, our soul self. And I have a quote for you from Nichola Joy Devi. Even if we do not realize it, what we are seeking is the sense of wholeness. This sense is so familiar that we often forget that it is always with us. The time we spend each day in communion with ourselves is such an integral part of our lives that if it is absent, we feel unbalanced and out of sorts. The rhythm of our spiritual practice can be one of the most stabilizing effects of our life. Okay, if you've got your head turned one way, let's turn it to the other side for the other half of this pose. Okay, you're going to take a breath. And you're going to slowly come out of your pose and come up. Okay, for the next pose, you're going to put your blanket off to the side. You're going to put your bolster towards the head of your mat. You're going to want to have space for your head and your shoulders at the top of your mat. You're going to leave your blocks there. And this is where I like to put my meditation cushion here. And then I also like to have a strap for this, which I am so sorry. I like to be sure I tell you all your props that you need, and I forgot that one. So let's get a strap. So you're going to take your strap. You're going to sit down on your bolster. And you can use a strap or not use a strap, depends on how you feel about it. Everything is always your choice. But I find if you just put the strap around your ankles, you can tighten as much or as little as you want to. It just lets your legs relax so they don't have to try to stay on these props. So you lie down and you rest on your props. Your shoulders and your head are off. I just have to say, I don't know how you guys, I'm not the tallest person in the village by far. I don't know how we're all dealing with shrinkflation, because you could see my feet are off these props, but this bolster is shorter than they used to be. So I'm not like fully supported on this the way I used to be. It's a little pet peeve of mine. Okay. Here we go. We're going to be in this for 10 minutes. Okay, sink in, make any adjustments. Shoulders on the ground. Rest of the body supported by the props. Autumn season invites us to let things fall away, like the leaves fall from the trees, and to make space in our lives, and to dig deep into the earth to uncover our preciousness. So verse 1, chapter 15 of the Yoga Sutra says, "With constant remembrance of the self, all yearnings fade." As our focus turns toward remembering the true self, we naturally identify less and less with external desires and wants. This perspective reveals that we are merely the temporary caretakers of whatever we possess. And with this attitude, nothing binds us. As life bestows gifts upon us, we are delighted. With their revocation, we may feel momentarily upset, but with grace of remembering our divine self, our emotional equilibrium is restored. And when we attune to the energy of autumn season, the energy really supports us in connecting with our divine self, our spiritual self, our soul self. And this brings a lot of pleasure in autumn season, a lot of energy. Okay, you're going to find your way out of this pose. You can just bend your knees, release your feet from the binding, and you can roll to your side and come up. Okay, so you're going to put your props just off to the side for a moment. And you might want to just take that cushion and sit on it. Come to a seated position. You could sit in a chair too. So we're going to sit and we're just going to do a twist. And then twist to the other side. And then a side bend. And then we'll side bend to the other side. And then you can release that. And you're going to put your props off to the side. And we're going to do your final resting pose. And you can choose how you want to do it. But I'm going to suggest to do Burrito shavasana, which involves wrapping yourself up like a burrito. So for this, you're going to take your blanket and you're going to open it up. And you're going to wrap it around you. It's like adult swaddling. And then you're going to lie down. And it doesn't really need to be perfect because when you lie down, you can fix it up. So you can tuck it under a little bit more once you get down here. And you're going to be in your Burrito shavasana, all tucked in for 10 minutes. So just notice what it feels like to be held and swaddled in this way. And you can continue to rest here. And I'm going to sit up and read you a poem. So before I read you the poem, let's just close out attuning to autumn season. So autumn is a preparation for winter. And like animals, we're preparing our cozy hibernation dens like this Burrito shavasana. Now, in the culture we live in, overactivity is our constant companion. And we're encouraged to take advantage of all the choices we have available to us in our culture. And this choice creates fatigue. We run in hundreds of different directions, exploring the infinite possibilities of our lives. And when we become still but aware, there's a dynamic stillness that's present in our restorative yoga poses. And this still awareness regenerates our energy. So this poem is called Fall Song by Mary Oliver. Another year gone, leaving everywhere its rich, spiced residues, vines, leaves, the uneaten fruits crumbling damply in the shadows, unmattering back from the particular island of this summer, this now, that now is nowhere, except underfoot, moldering in that black subterranean castle of unobservable mysteries, roots and sealed seeds, and the wanderings of water. This I try to remember when time's measure painfully chafes. For instance, when autumn flares out at last, boisterous and like us longing to stay, how everything lives, shifting from one bright vision to another, forever in these momentary pastures. Another year gone, leaving everywhere its rich, spiced residues, vines, leaves, the uneaten fruits crumbling damply in the shadows, unmattering back from the particular island of this summer. This now that now is nowhere, except underfoot, moldering in that black subterranean castle of unobservable mysteries, roots and sealed seeds, and the wanderings of water. This I try to remember when its time's measure painfully chafes. For instance, when autumn flares out at the last boisterous, and like us longing to stay, how everything lives, shifting from one bright vision to another, forever in these momentary pastures. Okay, you're going to stretch out. Recall what you wanted to attune to with autumn's energy at the beginning. What stood out to you about your experience in this class. You can bend your knees and roll to the side. Make your way up to seated. Thank you so much for joining me for this class. Thank you for liking this video and putting I attune to autumn's energy in the comments. I'm sending you much love from beautiful British Columbia. May your joy be as deep as the Pacific Ocean. May you be as rooted as the old growth trees in our forests, and may you be as strong as our mountains.